The following story is also available as a read-only version. Check the link in the description if you're interested.
Dmitry Dimitrov III was looking out into Palermo Bay, watching the shuttles, freighters, gravcars, secboats, and 1,000 other types of spaceship dance inside the horseshoe of Palermo Station. A jagged range of star-scrapers sprouted from the station's main corridor, glowing against the vastness of space, stalactites and stalagmites inhabited by luminescent microorganisms. From here, even the tallest of them seemed so small. He was a large man. Some would have said gigantic. Well-fed and broad-shouldered, he projected an aura of indomitability. His large brown eyes shone with intelligent authority. Though his hairline was receding early, there was something about it that made him refuse to take treatment. Unless you were bald, the less hair you had, the wiser people thought you were. "Council member, are you interested?" the campaign staffer asked.
"I am mulling it over."
Dmitry turned the chair toward the small delegation of political mercenaries that was assembled in his office. "The president will not be able to hold on to his seat in the next election. The fact that Senator Shapansky was elected vice-chancellor demonstrates that even the nations are dissatisfied with his policies. And Neriri Mudzenda as prime minister was clearly a move to appeal to popular support, because his base will no longer cover him," the staffer repeated. "This is an opportunity for change in the entire Federation, and an opportunity for you to advance personally."
"What makes you think I have intentions of advancing? And what makes you think I can generate support for your candidate?"
Dmitry asked.
"I am merely a member of the Palermo Station Council, a local official at best. We may host the international government, but we do not run it."
Of course, he knew exactly what these people wanted from him. And he also knew that he could, if he chose to, deliver it. "Come on, council member, we both know that you're a man of means and power, and you have your sights on all targets. This position is your entry into politics, nothing more. Palermo Station is the cultural capital of the Federation. Support here translates to support all across the spur. No presidential election has been won without the support of at least one council member in almost a century."
"I own a successful insurance and securities firm. The president's trade policies have benefited my business greatly."
Dmitry shrugged, playing coy.
"Your entire election campaign you riled against the man,"
a different staffer interjected. A young woman, heart-shaped face, nice curves. Dmitry was happy to listen to her. "You can't seriously tell us that you will cash your chips in with him."
"Curtis Rowe has been the international president for 15 years. He is entrenched and enjoys a lot of support from the nations. Marcelina's election to vice-chancellor is a sign that the nations are happy with Ogadai Zayat's work as chancellor, and they no longer want to oppose him in everything he does."
Dmitry could tell that the staffers were impressed by the fact that he was on a first-name basis with Senator Shapansky. In truth, he did not like her very much. She was all about the old blood, and looked down on the Pan-Slav mutts of Palermo Station, and thereby him. "If you were the station manager, don't you think the status of your business would rise?" The staffer was blunt with his offer.
"The station manager is appointed by the Prime Minister, not the President, and must be approved by the Council. This is my very first term in office, and there are many people in other districts who have waited a long time for a chance in that seat," Dmitry objected.
"The Prime Minister is appointed by the President,"
the female staffer noted.
"The Prime Minister is also important to the ticket. Control of the day-to-day operations of the Federation government is a powerful office. I doubt that your candidate would be willing to jeopardize their entire campaign just to ensure I become station manager."
"How would you know that?" the young woman asked.
"Now you are the ones holding out." Dmitry laughed. "I know your candidate is Neriri Mudzenda. This is her first term as Prime Minister, and because she is very popular, she thinks she can usurp power from Curtis Rowe, and maybe this is true. However, many of her positions on alien civilizations already rub some people the wrong way, which means she will have to balance out her ticket with a Prime Minister that is a little more conservative when it comes to interacting with xenosapiens. I do not know any such people, and I doubt they know of me.
Introductions can be made, the lead staffer suggested. He was very good at hiding his surprise at the fact that Dmitri knew who he worked for. The fact of the matter was that nothing important happened on Palermo Station without Dmitri being informed about it.
I'd like that to happen before I announce my official support. I agree with many of Ms. Mutzenda's policy positions. Plus, I've been looking forward to taking on Curtis Rowe.
Dmitri grinned. The idea of seeing that outmoded shaft rat out of office filled him with joy. I think that can be arranged. The representative smiled like a shark.
I need to go now. Talk to constituents. Before you talk to anyone else, let me give you a gift.
He pulled a piece of notepaper from the stack on his desk. Simple, old-fashioned, and not prone to being stolen by spyware. After writing down a short list of names in his large, rigid hand, he passed it over to the staffer.
Do not meet with these people. They are raw puppets. The moment they realize someone is seriously gunning for their master, they will tattle.
The staffer held the piece of paper in his hand like it was an ancient relic. This is exactly why we came to you, Council Member Dimitrov.
I know. I am the whole package.
His constituents turned out to be the kind of people best met in dingy back rooms with good soundproofing and poor ventilation. Were he not sitting down, he would tower over both of the other men at this table. Even so, his size made it so he looked in control, and it put both of them at ease.
It's fucking bullshit. You cannot demand restitution for men killed in self-defense.
Vadim Minushkin, Kierovnik of the Sprelova, complained. He was a deceptively slight man, with dark eyes that reminded Dmitri of a rat.
The fish merchant was our business.
This is exactly what I said would happen when we agreed to split the market. Your men were going to roll up to one of the neutral vendors and then cry foul when they are rightfully pushed out.
Iago Musomi looked like a snake but held himself like a lion. The commander of the Isosha was tall and muscular, but Dmitri would not bet on him in a fight with Minushkin. The small man was easily underestimated, and he'd used that to his advantage numerous times.
You killed them, Sitak! He was neutral, what do you care? We take one, you take a different one. Half the market is neutral vendors.
Minushkin threw his hands up in frustration.
But you attack my lackeys, they will defend themselves.
My council advised me to do much the same, but I will not. There is a reason I insisted on neutral vendors. If we are going to sling products in the same market, I want a buffer between your organization and mine.
Musomi was touching his fingertips together, looking at his adversary as though he'd just made a move in a chess game.
What, you think we would steal your inferior product?
Minushkin pretended to laugh.
Your Votnoy is mixed together in poorly ventilated labs hidden in the shafts. We import everything from chemical manufacturers.
Before Musomi could respond, Dmitri interjected.
I do not think this is the time to be comparing products. Let's focus on what's at hand.
The commander looked at him with a flash of anger for a split second, then remembered who he was talking to.
I agree. One of my impi is dead, and your men killed him. I demand restitution for me and his family.
Your men bit one of my lackey's ear off in the fight, but you don't hear me going around asking for money, do you? I gave him some counters for his troubles, but they came out of my pocket.
Musomi shrugged. If you are not willing to pay for the life you owe, I will have to make up the difference in blood. And it will not be a lakai I kill, rest assured. They are the bottom rung of your organization. Only someone of comparable rank will do.
Are you threatening to kill a Zestnik of the Sprelova?
Minushkin asked, feigning incredulity.
I will personally cut off your eyelids.
Musomi grinned, unfazed by the Panslav's threat. Do not make promises you cannot keep, Gaugo. Minushkin looked at Dmitri, outrage written clearly on his face.
This man has no intention but to insult me.
You threatened him. Neither of these two things is very productive. Dmitri shifted forward and built himself up, taking control of the physical space between the two gangsters. The time for listening was over. He needed to take over the negotiations, otherwise they would end in blood. The fact of the matter is, gentlemen, that you had an agreement to share that market, and neutral businesses were declared in that agreement. With a look at Minushkin's appalled face, he added, However, the notion that these businesses could not be taken over was not explicitly established. Musomi raised an eyebrow at him. Was it not obvious what a neutral zone was for? Dmitri nodded. I agree. Vadim, you are not in breach of the letter of the agreement, but certainly the spirit. That is not how business is conducted on this station.
You are siding with him? A Murzin? Over your fellow Panslav?
Though Minushkin's outrage may have been genuine, everything the man did seemed fake.
My men take out policies with you all the time. Do you know how much money you make because of me?
Careful now, Vadim. You are walking in thin air. Dmitri did not need to raise his voice for his anger to show. Everyone takes out policies with me. I do not work for the Sprelova. And the fact that I am Panslav and I love my people will not interfere with my objectivity as an arbitrator. He could see Minushkin swallowing his words. His jaw tensed and his eyes glowed with vitriol. Not even the Kierovnik wanted to get excluded from Dmitri's negotiating table. Any agreement between the criminal organizations of Palermo Station that was not notarized by him had a tendency to be broken at the first occasion. I want my restitution, Musomi insisted. What is your price? Be specific, Dmitri said. 20 mega counters. Minushkin burst out laughing. It was a rough, high-pitched rasp. That is a little steep, don't you think? Dmitri suggested.
Steep?
Minushkin shook his head vehemently.
That is more than the man made in a year.
Musomi shook his head, face steel-cold serious. That is not true. He was a very good earner. Besides, half of it is for the family. Do you not take care of the families of the men you lose? Minushkin looked insulted.
Of course we do. Otherwise nobody would work for us, considering the animals they have to fight in the dust with.
The commander was about to reply something, but Dmitri spoke before he could open his mouth. That's enough, Vadim. Insult him again and I will leave. He turned to Musomi. How low are you willing to go? In the interest of keeping the peace, I would forego my personal share and have 10 mega counters paid out to the family. Musomi pursed his lips, congratulating himself on his own graciousness. I also want the neutral vendors in the market to remain that way, including the one you have taken over.
The moment I no longer have a gun to his neck, he will go and tattle to the police,
Minushkin complained. It was unlikely, especially considering the consequences, but not impossible. How about you take over another neutral vendor of your choice? You would both have increased your influence in equal parts, and the neutral zone would not be compromised any further, Dmitri suggested. Musomi mulled it over for a moment, then nodded. Yes, I think I can agree to that. Dmitri looked at Minushkin, who was sitting with his arms crossed. And you, Vadim? The Kierovnik slowly moved his hand to his pocket, signaling that he was not reaching for a weapon. He pulled out his wallet and laid a green plastic chip inlaid with a copper circle on the table. 10 mega counters. Dmitri slid the chip over to Musomi, who inspected it, a hint of offense on his face. If you had this in your pocket, would it have been so difficult to make it a lime? The commander asked. Minushkin grinned. It did not reach his rat-like eyes.
It is my emergency coin. I want this business to be done with. When I come back home, one of these will be waiting for me.
Dmitri clapped his hands together. Well then, I am happy we could all come to an agreement. I will be expecting my fee through the usual channels. He gave them a month at best before they ended up back at the negotiating table. The Sprelova and the Isosha were grinding against each other like two shards of glass, and they had for years. It wouldn't be long until tensions escalated, and Dmitri would have to make sure he did not get caught between the two sides. The offices of Highland Insurance were located inside a business tower protruding from Palermo Station's underside. A Scottish Highland cow was grazing on a field in the company logo, glowing brightly behind the reception desk in the lobby. Though factually it was irrelevant, there was something about humans that made them prefer the top side of the station. Everything that, in relation to the gravity orientation, shot upward was seen as more important than the froth hanging below. All important government buildings, aside from a number of national senates, were located on top of the horseshoe. Over the years, the inhabitants of Palermo Station had made the underside their home. Real estate here was cheaper, but just as well connected to the rest of the station, so they could go into competition with the international businesses. These days, those born on the station preferred the buildings hanging below, which was why Dmitri's office had the perfect view to remind them where they were. This was a Panslav business, run by one of Palermo Station's very own children.
I do hope you will offer me some kind of package deal. I am after all delivering well over 100 policies.
Shigeru Narisawa, Oyabun of the Palermo Fujista Yakuza, reminded Dmitri of a jellyfish. Not because he was soft or lacked a brain, quite the opposite. He was patient, adapted to the flow, and could poison anything he touched.
Could be you're planning to interfere in the war to come. Wait to see who comes out on top, Sprelova or Isosha, then cannibalize the corpse,
Dmitri suggested.
I am hurt that you would even consider that.
Narisawa responded facetiously, his smile making clear that he had at least considered the option.
I am willing to give you 50% end-of-the-year rebate for uncashed policies, but you will have to do something for me.
The Oyabun made large eyes. That was a fantastic deal.
I am almost afraid what you will ask.
Leo Suzuki, President Rowe's last Prime Minister. You made him happen, didn't you?
Dmitri asked. It was a theory he'd always had, but never found the time to verify. Narisawa smirked.
Whatever might give you that impression. He is a legitimate political candidate, the former president of Fuji.
That's precisely the point. The Japanese Empire hates your little independent republic. It is a stain on their honor. Suzuki is not only a cultural icon from Fuji, but also a puppet of the planet Zaibatsu. Fujitech, Nintendo, Auto Ninja, all a thorn in the side of the imperial economy.
Dmitri pointed out the window, in the vague direction of the Japanese Senate.
That's a huge voting bloc. Curtis Rowe was insane to antagonize them.
Leo-san was prime minister before Rowe took office,
Narisawa noted.
I want you to make introductions. Friendly introductions. I want to know how you did it. How you made him palatable. The entirety of the network and techniques you used for the media campaign that just sort of organically emerged when he first became prime minister.
Dmitri decided that the time to hover at the airlock was over.
That was almost 20 years ago,
said Narisawa.
I was not Oyabun back then.
The positive stories only stopped the day he left office and Neriri Muzenda took over. You were Oyabun back then, Dmitri pointed out.
Narisawa nodded.
My people will charge at least nominal fees, and I can guarantee you that outside parties will not waive theirs, he warned.
That will not be a problem, Dmitri assured him.
The Oyabun smiled.
I like your rebates, Dmitri-san. I will take them.
Dmitri shook the gangster's hand.
That is what I like about you. You see opportunities when they come to you.
When Narisawa was gone, Dmitri cracked his knuckles and ordered a black tea with milk from his secretary. There was a lot of work to be done.
If you liked this story and would like to hear more, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. A new short story is uploaded every Wednesday, and there will occasionally be another one in between if I find the time. Thank you very much for listening and have a great day.